The New Jersey Devils morning skate has concluded as they prepare to take on the Panthers for the second time in 3 days. And I also did a one-on-one discussion with Stefan Noesen. There's a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils, coming to you from Fort Lauderdale. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed him. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play announcer, Devils writer for Pucks and Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member, Trey Matthews. My apologies for posting this episode a little later than I usually do, but it's for good reason. I am coming to you live from the Baptist Health IcePlex in Fort Lauderdale. It's the Florida Panthers practice facility. The New Jersey Devils morning skate has concluded, and I got some nice behind-the-scenes coverage for you. It was a pretty crowded morning skate. Everybody was on the rink in preparation for taking on the Panthers for the second time in 3 days. What's on the agenda for today's episode? In the first segment, I will share some of my keys to the game as, once again, the Devils are preparing to take on the Cats for the second time in 3 days. Then in the second segment, I got a real treat for you guys. I did a one-on-one discussion with Stefan Noesen. We talked about his time with the Devils so far, how he's been utilized, and how the team has been functioning almost 20 games into the season. Then in the third and final segment, I will play the media availability from head coach Sheldon Keefe. All right, first, some housekeeping. The lineup will stay the same with the exception of Jake Allen in net. Jacob Markstrom appeared in the previous game, and he did an excellent job in between the pipes. And Paul Maurice has confirmed that Sergei Bobrovsky will be in net for the Panthers. That's going to be a bit of a challenge for New Jersey, but here are my points of emphasis heading into the game and a player to look out for. The first being is that the Devils have got to slow down the offensive attack from the Panthers from the opening faceoff, because something I noticed immediately from the Panthers was that they like to get off and running, and the Devils are a speedy team as well, but the Panthers take it to another level. It didn't matter if the team was on 5-on-5, power play, penalty kill. The Panthers love to play fast. And from the opening faceoff, it seemed like the Devils had a tough time getting outside of their own zone, and they couldn't really establish offensive zone pressure. Luckily, Jacob Markstrom was in net, but you can't rely on your goaltender to bail you out more times than not, especially against the reigning Stanley Cup champions. I think that's my biggest point of emphasis, which is you got to find a way to slow down the Panthers, make sure your forechecks are really good. I know it's easier said than done, but it has to be the main point of emphasis. And the second thing that I will bring into the light is that I hope the Devils keep the physicality coming. I loved the physicality from the Devils as the game progressed. And we saw Brenden Dillon go toe-to-toe with Jonah Gadjevich, and that sort of gave his team a spark. All the players in the locker room post-game credited that fight as a turning point for New Jersey because they had sacrificed a power play goal to Sam Reinhart, and Brenden Dillon saw that the winds were starting to change into the favor of the Panthers. So what did he do? He dropped the mitts, and that was probably one of the best fights that I've seen in a while. Yes, Dillon was the first one to go down, but he still laid some good punches on Gadjevich, had the jersey over his head, and despite Gadjevich looking like a headless chicken, he was still laying some decent punches on Dillon as well. And then the energy picked up for New Jersey. I saw Stefan Noesen go to toe-to-toe with a couple of players. Tempers were starting to flare, and the temperature was just picking up between both these teams. Do not take your foot off the gas pedal. You have to remain physical against this Panthers team. I literally just said it moments ago, which is make sure your forechecks are good, and maybe they'll rely on some of their aggressive players like Stefan Noesen, Paul Cotter, Brenden Dillon to try to bring more energy, more physicality. And Bill Spalding put this out on social media saying that he's not really the biggest fan when it comes to players just fighting to fight. Honestly, I'm more or less the same way because I don't want people watching a game of hockey just for the fights. That's similar to watching a NASCAR race for the crashes. There's a lot more to it. Obviously, it makes the game more entertaining and exciting, but enjoy a hockey game for the sake of the game, not just because of the fights, but Ken Danico enlightened both Bill and myself as to how that can be important. And I saw it firsthand when the Devils needed a momentum shift. Physicality is very important, and Brenden Dillon spoke about it briefly after the morning skate. Here's what he had to say to the media.
When we play that disciplined game, and we're able to force teams into turnovers and use then our strength of the offense and the skill and the speed, that's when we're at our best. So it's just it's been something that from day one we've been focusing on. Keefer's done a great job of just stressing it on us that we need to stay in that structure, to trust the structure, and we usually find success doing that.
Not just your fight, but in general, I feel like you guys gave Florida a little bit of a taste of their own medicine in terms of the pushback there and kind of the gang mentality physically and stuff like that too.
Yeah, well, we've got to be together as a team. We've got to be able to play all different types of styles. Florida, again, they're the Stanley Cup champs. They're the measuring bar for every team. They play fast, they play physical, they play simple, and they have success doing it. So for our group, we don't want to back down from any type of game, whether that's the speed game, the skill game, the physicality game. And in a perfect world, you can have all of it. I think we're trying to build towards that, and they're a perfect example of we're gonna have to expect their best tonight again. They played really well last game. We're fortunate to get the 2 points, and we got to be a little bit greedy here and do our best to put our best foot forward.
And my player to look out for is Jack Hughes. I didn't really touch on Jack as much as I wanted to in the previous episode, but let me give him his roses. He has now reached 300 career points. He has 7 points in his last 4 games, including back-to-back 3-point outings. And he has racked up 4 goals and 3 assists in that 4-game span. He's been amazing for New Jersey. And I think Jack is starting to come back a little bit if he hasn't done so already. And he's going to be my player to watch out for in tonight's matchup. But let me know your thoughts. Which player do you have your eyes on heading into tonight's matchup? And speaking of players, I will play my one-on-one discussion with Noesen momentarily. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with the promo code NHL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steak have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully created gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with the promo code NHL and $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code NHL. Minimum purchase may apply. Okay, before I play my discussion with Stefan Noesen, here are some stats. He is tied for second on the team in hits with 48. Tied for third in goals and assists, 7 apiece. Third in power play goals with 2. Tied for fifth in points, 14. Tied for fifth in power play assists, 2. Like I've said religiously on the show, Stefan Noesen is one of my favorite players to watch. Just how he plays the game from a physical standpoint, and honestly, he has elevated his game offensively. I had the chance to have a brief discussion with him shortly after the morning skate. Here's what he had to tell me. All right, Nace, you're nearly 20 games into your second stint with New Jersey. How are things been going from your perspective?
I've been going good. Just working on building our team chemistry, kind of getting the I think the winning culture back into this locker room, and so far it's been going pretty good.
What were some of your expectations heading into the season? Obviously, the Devils brought you back for a reason. They saw something in you, and what were those expectations heading into the season?
I think again it's kind of we want to reestablish what winning means here. I think they had a little bit of a lull last year, and they brought in some older guys that help button that up a little bit, and I guess myself being one of them, and the expectations are to make the playoffs and to be a playoff contender, and we have a step to do that tonight here in Florida, and after a day off, and we just played them before, so we're looking forward to that.
You've obviously seen some success with the Carolina Hurricanes, and you talked about making the playoffs. How do you try to transition that experience from Carolina to New Jersey to basically be a mentor of some sorts to the younger guys?
It's learning how guys operate and how guys tick. What makes one person successful one way is totally different for the next guy. So just bringing life experience and bringing playoff experience and bringing just things in general to the locker room that you can help out throughout your day-to-day, and plays that I can see sometimes are different than the way other guys see it, and helping them maybe eliminate some of the mistakes, and be able to do that. It creates winning hockey over and over again, and I think you see that.
Let's talk about a couple of your line mates, Eric Halla, Paul Cotter. How were you guys able to click so early? Because you guys have seen a lot of offensive success.
Paul's also he's been really good. He's heavy on the puck. He's strong. Decision makings we're working on from time to time, which is part of growing. Like I was saying, and Halsey's just been so dominant in the circle. He's been allowing us to start the puck, start our shifts with the puck a lot, and he's just that little solid guy up and down the middle of the ice that we can rely on defensively, and then when offensive zone time comes, we're able to click.
We talk about aggression, and that was one of the big focal points for Tom Fitzgerald heading into the offseason. When you see someone maybe getting picked on a little bit, and you come to their defense, we saw a little bit in the last game against the Panthers. Is that really important to your game, to just know that you have your teammates back?
Yeah, it's just part of the game, right? It's just a team sport. It's not an individual sport. So, once we start caring a little bit more about the guy next to us, then you do really about yourself. Is when we were able to be more successful, and we're building towards that. We bring in a guy like Brenden Dillon, who's obviously as tough as they come. We saw the fight the other night, and he's the first one to say that as long as you're comfortable on the ice, that means he's doing his job. And I'm not quite that presence out there, but what I try to do is just provide that comfort for my teammates whenever it's need be, and just try to be a presence on the ice and make sure that people aren't going to take advantage of guys.
Let's just talk about how you guys collectively have been doing as a team. 19 games in, how satisfied are you guys where you're at currently?
You're never fully satisfied, right? So, it's a long season. We're building our house right now, right? We had to build the foundation. We're starting with that, and we start doing building blocks here and there as you get up, and we're not looking to hit our peak until we need to in the in the middle, or sorry, not in the middle of the season, but at the end of the season going into playoffs. So, but you got to build layer by layer, and so far we've done a pretty good job, and we just got to keep working.
You're on the top line now with Nico Hischier. How does it feel to basically be entrusted by Sheldon Keefe to be on the captain line and try to lead the way?
Yeah, this thing that we talked about just with me coming here is that I might be used in every line situation. My game doesn't change. My game is a hard nose. I'm not going to change who I am, and I'm not the skilled guy. I'm the go-getter guy. So I think just wanted to add a little bit more physicalness on that line. Get Timo and let those guys hang on to the puck a little bit more, and so far it's been good. We'll see what happens and go from there.
Last one. You've been a huge catalyst on the power play. What's been clicking for you on the man advantage?
Again, my same thing when I kind of got brought in here is, just be a net front guy. Play that little style down low, get pucks back for those guys and let them kind of do their thing. And once I get it, it's just being able to make that next play and make those guys be able to trust me.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Stefan Noesen is one of my favorite players on the Devils roster, and I'm really glad they reunited with him because he's been a huge X factor for New Jersey, and he's been a catalyst on the power play. When the scouting report comes out for some other teams, they might glance over Stefan Noesen and his overall impact, but we in New Jersey know how much of an impact he has on this current roster, and I'm glad that Fitzy signed him to that 3-year deal during the offseason. All right, I'm going to play the soundbite from Sheldon Keefe momentarily, but before we continue, let me tell you guys about Select Quote. The World Series, Super Bowl, the Olympics, the world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing, teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. SelectQuote's licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Other life insurance brokers offer impersonal, one-size-fits-all policies that may cost you more and cover you less, while SelectQuote's licensed insurance agents work for you to a tailored life insurance policy for your individual needs in as little as 15 minutes. Get the right insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Go to selectquote.com/lockedonnhl today to get started. That's selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. And now, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And please remember to always gamble responsibly. Okay, to wrap up today's show, and my apologies if you can hear music in the background. Looks like there's some figure skating going on right in front of me. I have my microphone, so I'll do my best to try to cancel out the noise. But Sheldon Keefe spoke to the media post-game, and I even asked him about the defensive efforts from a few key defensemen, including Jonas Siegenthaler, Jonathan Kovacevic, and obviously Luke Hughes. Here's what he had to say after the morning skate.
From puck drop, what does that look like?
We're on our toes. You're forechecking. You're making it hard on the opposition to break out. And you're winning shifts and spending time on their half of the ice.
You said after the last game, team took a step. You told them they took a step. What's the next step for this team?
I think consistency. That's the biggest challenge you go into a game here tonight. I mean, anything can happen once. So for us to duplicate our resiliency, the resolve that it takes to find your way through a game like that against a team like this, but also just understanding they're going to be better and that we need to be better. We look at it. We like lots of things about our game, but there's a ton of things that we can and need to do better tonight.
Not that you want to experience it again, but when you're put on your heels like you were, particularly in the start of that second period, and the team does respond, what does that tell you about the club? Again, you don't want to repeat it, but what do you learn out of that?
Well, like I said, it's just about the resiliency, and the whole bend and don't break type of deal. Because as much as they were winning the territorial battle to start that second period. They got a power play goal out of it, but we weren't able to allow them to blow the game open and have us chasing it from behind. That was one of the real positives of the game, is we never trailed. So, it's things like that. You just manage it. Don't have any breakdowns in your structure. And then when you get your opportunity to get through that, you got to take advantage of it and look to do the same to them, which is really what we did in the back half of the period. So, anytime you get two good teams playing and competing, it's going to be like who cracks first and who can find their way through to manipulate the game in their favor.
You alluded to it a bit there, but like the Edmonton game or that last game, when you've had stretches where you've had to absorb pressure, where you think this team's grown in terms of being able to maintain that structure that you're looking for defensively, even if they're defending for long stretches?
Yeah, that's just it. It's like, there are times when you're going to have to defend. Sometimes you've had to do it too much, but protect your net, block a shot, find a way to get the puck out. Don't let people in behind you, those kind of things. Deny slot passes, like all the things that lead to dangerous scoring chances, you got to protect. And then, like I said, when you get your opportunity now to swing momentum, you need to look to take advantage of it. And that's, to me, is the area that we're continuing to talk a lot about, and we've got a long way to go.
What can you say about your defensemen? In the previous game, you talked about Luke Hughes. Seems like Jonas Siegenthaler is looking really good. Jonathan Kovacevic played a lot of minutes. How satisfied are you with the effort from your defensemen?
The effort's been great. The guys you mentioned, obviously, Siegenthaler, Kovacevic, those guys have been rock solid for us all season long. And they continue to get challenged every night by the other team's best people. So, yeah, they've been great. I think that Hughes and Pesci, two guys that miss training camp, don't get preseason, and they sort of jump on the moving treadmill here of the season. I think they're starting to really find their game and their chemistry together too. So it's really rounding out our decor.
I'm excited to see how the Devils respond after a big win a couple days ago against this Panthers team. Obviously, Paul Maurice and his crew are not going to make it easy. They're the reigning Stanley Cup champions for a reason. They're still first in the Atlantic Division. If the Devils can pick up another win against the Panthers, then it's already a successful trip to the Sunshine State. And remember, they have the Tampa Bay Lightning on Saturday. That's a team that put up 8 goals against them, and I'm sure they would like to redeem themselves from a few weeks ago. But anyway, I'm about to get ready for another matchup against the Panthers. I'm about to grab myself a coffee, do some work, write an article for Pucks and Pitchforks. Share your thoughts down below if you're watching on YouTube, your expectations heading into the next matchup against the Panthers, and also what did you think of my one-on-one discussion with Stefan Noesen? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you're listening on a podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X page app at TreyMatt4 or the show's X page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's what time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day in New Jersey. Thanks for listening. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for listening once again.